It's not just prepping for and being in the academy for graduation where you've got to deal with this BS. Oh no. In Know Thyself, Deanna Troi keeps failing the engineering component of the bridge officer's exam because she can't get the techie stuff right. But there's a twist. The engineering know-how doesn't matter. It's really a test to see if you're willing to send some hapless chump to their death.
Sir, that crawlway is in a warp plasma shaft. He would never survive the radiation.
Do it. That's an order.
Geordi?
Do it. Do it. That's an order. Do it.
Kind of obvious, really. If I had to take a Starfleet test, this would be the first thing I'd try. If they're testing my competence at first contact or some kind of tactical situation, or even the kind of paperwork that's got to be done between missions, I'd be just scanning the environment for whoever I could throw into the meat grinder for the greater good. Probably going to rack up an easy pass that way. I might not have a crew left by the end of the exams, but I've shown that I'm willing to kill, so that should get me through. The crazy thing is, Troi has actually done this kind of situation for realsies. She wants to become a fully fledged commander because of this episode, Disaster. In that episode, the Enterprise encounters a technobabble, and that disables the ship, causing critical damage. The bridge is isolated from the rest of the ship, and the Counselor is the highest ranking officer present because she's a Lieutenant Commander, so she has to take the reins and make the tough decisions. This includes choosing to trust the crew and keep the ship together rather than flee in the saucer section.
It's time to leave.
We will separate the ship when I decide that it's time and not before. Is that clear, Ensign?
Just seems kinda nuts that she has to prove this in a holodeck simulation when she's already done it for real. Plus, from the perspective of her successful attempt, she simply marches into engineering and instantly orders Geordi to his death, without listening to any objections or considering other options. No wonder she's getting the stink eye visor. Yeah, you passed the bridge officer's test by showing that you can decide who gets killed. This is the second time we've seen that as a cast iron priority for Starfleet competence. Now we get to the big deal. Everyone knows the Kobiashi Maru, the scene that kicks off the Wrath of Khan. The scenario is this: the entire bridge crew of Starfleet's flagship spend the day being extras in an evaluation for an incompetent, panicky Vulcan. It's a rescue mission that gets messy and, in a twist for a Starfleet evaluation, it's not just one person who dies, but everyone! You can see where I'm going. I'm not going to labour the point. This is the third on-screen Starfleet teaching moment that's about making people die. In terms of entertainment, it makes sense. You've got to have interesting scenarios. If you want to show someone at the academy preparing for it or whatever, you've got to have some scenes that kind of pop. Not just someone with their head in a book before sitting down for an exam. But for all the zany shenanigans in coming of age, we do get one of the most relatable and outright best scenes in all of Star Trek. No, I'm not being sarcastic or teeing up for some mean put down. See, Wesley's returned from the Institute and he doesn't want to go to this function on the ship. He's embarrassed and feels like a failure, like he's let everyone down.
I failed, Captain. I didn't get into the Academy. I failed you, and I failed the Enterprise.
Which is what happens when you create a situation where you're telling a 15-year-old boy that their success is measured by how they do in a frankly unfair system of selective elitism. Picard has some encouraging words though, the stinger being,
I failed the first time.
In my headcanon, Picard failed his cultural awareness segment because he didn't try and spark out a gang of Norskans hanging around a slushy machine in the evaluation center's cafeteria. Nailed it the second time though. But seriously, the early episodes of Next Generation get a ton of flack. So do Will Wheaton and Wesley for that matter. But this is a masterful scene. It's humane, inspiring, and something that anyone can relate to. So there you go. That's Starfleet Academy's teaching and evaluation process. It's a kaleidoscopic nightmare. It's an admittedly unfair series of elaborate scenarios designed to confuse, terrify, and deflate participants, and most of the lessons involve killing people and/or dealing with being killed. Be sure to peruse the brochure and sign up at your nearest recruitment station.